Hi, this is Sergio DeCesare, and I am a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm, but you knew that already. You heard the intro, didn't you? Welcome to the show. If you're new around here, welcome. Glad you're here. We're all about results, and we feature guests who are getting results for their clients. Today, I have Mr. Sergio DeCesare. He is a result-oriented business coach and turnaround consultant obsessed with operational excellence. He's a good guy, fun to talk to. Let's jump in. Sergio, welcome to the show, brother. Are you ready to do this thing?
I am ready, Jonathan. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's give our listeners a quick win. What book have you given most as a gift?
You mean besides the one that I helped co-author?
The thing is, everybody asks permission, but aren't you supposed to be marketing your book anyways? So yeah,
I do. I probably don't push it as much as my publisher wants me to, but that's his job, not mine. So we'll leave it at that. But to answer your question, the book that I probably have given more than any other book, and I still give it out to my clients, is the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. For a lot of my clients, that's required reading.
I need to go back and read that again. I'm starting to feel like the baker doing all the work. Cool. Thank you for that. Let's get into story time, man. And all of us love stories of failure. It builds that tension. So can you tell us a story of how an apparent failure set you up for later success?
I've had my share of failures. I think anybody who has any significant success in anything has to fail before they get there, clearly. The number one lesson I think I came away with this would be that if you get it right the first time, you either didn't aim high enough or you got it wrong and you don't know it yet. But my particular story is when I owned and operated an IT company. I had an IT company locally here, and I wanted to sell that IT company. And I had a broker come in, and he looked around. I had a showroom. I had guys working for me, rack servers, the whole 9 yards. And he wrote a number down on a piece of paper and handed it to me. And when I read that number, I didn't know if I wanted to punch myself in the face or punch him in the face, to be honest with you. But I felt at that point, I was like, man, I feel like I've failed here. I feel like I've created a money-generating business, but something without value. So I spent the next year talking to every business owner who had sold a business, everybody in the IT business who could give me some clue as to what builds value in that business. And I sold that business after making a number of changes in my business. I sold that business for a little over a year later for about 5 times more than he wrote on that piece of paper. And I thought, well, here's a failure that led to a success.
Well, give us some insights. What are some of those things that make a business sellable?
Processes and systems are probably the number one thing. A lot of business owners are still way too integrated in their business on a day-to-day operation. So when they go to sell it, they're not even really selling a business. They're selling a job to somebody else. And that's kind of really what got me into the whole business brokering as well. I do business brokering and had a great month last month where a client of mine who worked with me a couple of years back learned from me what made businesses valuable. And he's been a student ever since. And we sold his business last month. And now this was a home-based business when I started with him. And it was probably doing a couple $100,000 a year. And he sold that business last month. We got $1.75 million for it.
How happy was he?
Oh, he's ecstatic. I'm probably as happy as him, if not happier, because, he was 65, he was getting up there and he wanted to get on with his life. But so many people come to that crossroad and they go to sell, they haven't prepped for it. Then somebody comes along and says, well, I'll give you $400,000 for the business that he thought it was worth $1 million, right? Happens all the time.
What would you say is the most worthwhile investment you have ever made?
By and far, it's probably my own education.
Wait. I got to call you out. By and far, probably. What are we talking about here? Is it? Isn't it? What are you playing with us?
I'm being a little coy here, but yeah, it's my education, and I don't mean a formal college education. I mean the things along the way, the things I do every single year to sharpen my axe, to make myself a better consultant and a better coach. I think anyone who invests in themselves to learn something, anything, has to know it's a valuable investment. Every day you wake up, you're put in a unique position, taking your experiences and your education and using it to your own advantage and the advantage of others. And that's an important part of that, to the advantage of others. And I'm a firm believer in what Zig Ziglar says, who says, you can have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want.
Okay, now there's two questions that come from that. I'm going to go with the first one that comes to mind. What do you want?
What do I want? What I want is to be the number one business educator and coach in my area, if not the state or the southeast of the United States. That's what I want.
And then you mentioned sharpening your axe. So what are some of the ways that you sharpen your axe?
I'm always looking to learn from others, whether it be in the accounting business, the bookkeeping business. I just recently finished some coursework on a system called Kaizen, which is all about incremental change. And I thought it was very important. And now that I'm through it, I'm like, yeah, I wish I'd learned this a couple of years ago, because we go around and we tell people what they need to be doing, but sometimes those changes are so big in their own minds. And to us, it doesn't seem like it is. But when you have people who work for you doing what they've been doing for 3 or 4 years, these changes come as a big shock to the system. Taking these courses and understanding psychology, human psychology, anything I could do to sharpen my axe. And I think Abraham Lincoln put it best, where he said, if I had 6 hours to cut a tree, I'd spend 4 hours of it sharpening my axe.
In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Oh, that one's easy. I've developed an enormous amount of patience, which I never had before. Patience is pretty important. I think the other one would be ability to manifest, or self-manifestation. To make that clearer to the people listening, I mean, manifestation is basically bringing about something tangible in your own life through the law of attraction, belief, whatever. If you think it will come true, right? However, there's more to manifestation than just willpower and positive thinking, clearly. It's making everything you want to feel and experience a reality. So, and that all started with me just having just an enormous amount of gratitude. I think when it starts with gratitude, it's a lot easier to manifest the things you want in your life.
How does that work? How does gratitude help you manifest?
So many people focus on what they don't have rather than what they have. And I learned from somebody a long time ago that if you feel or have the feeling, know what the feeling is to have what you really want, even though you haven't gotten it yet, the chances of it coming to you are way, way, way better. And I really believe that.
What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Look, I love the internet like everybody else, but as much as there's good information out there, there's also a lot of erroneous information out there, especially when it comes to business operations and that sort of thing, running a small business. I think first and foremost, I think people spend way too much emphasis maybe on social media. And what I mean by that is they get into Facebook thinking Facebook is going to solve their business issues. They accumulate a lot of likes on something, but how does that really translate into dollars, right? How do you monetize those likes? On the same breath, I see a lot of people pushing websites as a primary lead generator. Well, guess what? If your message offline isn't any good, what makes you think putting it online is going to make it better? And then I think probably lastly, the biggest one would be how to assess a company's value. I think people see a lot of quick little shortcuts online, or they come up with these numbers where they're like, well, I was told that it was 3 times my company's revenue, determines what the value is of my company. It couldn't be more wrong.
What I like to say to people is try depositing those likes into the bank and see what happens.
Yeah. All those thumbs up, cash them out.
Are you enjoying the interview? Yeah, I had to jump in here for a second and ask you, if you've been listening for a while and you haven't subscribed to this show, why not? Go to wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Results Leader FM, and hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss another episode. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. Let's talk about results. Why do results matter?
That is the yardstick in which we, as business coaches and consultants, justify our fee, is it not? a lot of people bring their personal problems and their hangups and self-esteem issues to their business on how they run it, how they manage it, how they monetize it. I used to run some high-end mastermind groups, and I found that I almost really need to be a human psychologist first and understanding human behavior before I can expect them to get past the mental or emotional roadblocks that keep them from being better business owners. And results is that yardstick. But if I can't get you to get in the proper mindset to execute what needs to be done, we're just talking theory.
That's the point to this show, by the way. It's all theory if you're not getting results. Too good, too good. In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
I think maybe I just might have answered that inadvertently by saying I think what I've come to understand is human nature a little bit better and how to get people motivated and how to figure out what is going to. When I ran that high-end mastermind group, I had some heavy hitters in there who were already pretty much successful in their own right, but they wanted to kind of sharpen the edge a little bit. And I can remember distinctly having a particular attorney in the hot seat for that mastermind session and talking about what he thought was a business problem and just asking the right questions. He just broke down and cried. He realized that what he was bringing was something out of his own head that he was projecting that was actually keeping him from doing what he needed to bring his business to the next level. So what I realized is if we can't get to the person inside the head and get them to understand whatever they're projecting may not be correct, all the rest of it's kind of academic.
Now, people might have some confusion. So I've got a couple pieces that I want to put together here.
Sure.
What is the difference between a coach and a consultant?
Well, that's kind of like a running joke with me. Consultants, in my opinion, are the people you call to find a problem. Or what I like to say is those are the people you blame when everything goes sideways. Now, a coach will actually help you resolve the problem. And that problem could be on the personal side, it could be an operational issue, it could be a marketing issue. In the beginning, I used to call myself a consultant because I thought there was something kind of low rent about being called a coach. But as I've gotten more and more into my practice, and I'm like in the 9th year of my practice, I realized that it's actually a step up to be called a coach and not a consultant, because I'm dealing with a lot of different aspects of a problem, which may include the mindset of the owners themselves.
And you've touched on that quite a bit about the mindset and the internal turmoil. So how do you know how to ask the right questions to uncover this?
I'm former military, and my job in the military was criminal investigations and military policeman. I think learning to ask the right questions is sometimes you got to follow them down the rabbit hole to figure out where this is going. But I think experience is probably the best determiner of what questions you're going to ask. Because I can tell you already, I get certain people who give me certain answers. I know where that's coming from already. So,
but do they know?
I'll jump into.
They know? They don't know, right?
They don't know that, but I know that.
How do you get them there?
That's why when I had that lawyer in the hot seat that one time, I asked the right questions, and he knew where this was going. He finally saw the light, and he started crying because he realized it was him, his interpretations of things that had brought him to where he was at that moment.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's like you get put into this spot of a therapist as a coach. And I mean, I'm hearing this more and more. It's like, dude, this is almost like therapy.
Well, it almost is. I mean, business coaching is, it starts out as therapy for your business, so to speak, but it ends up, look, if you spend a year with me improving your business and you didn't get anything personally, intellectually, or emotionally changed about you, then I'm not doing my job.
What area of your business would you like better results?
The area of my business I think I would like to see better results would be my dilemma is how do I reach more people? How do I show them there is a better way and what they are completely capable of? I mean, I can't tell you how many clients I've had who, a lot of them are female, a lot of them are single moms and stuff. And they're like, I don't know my numbers. I'm not really good with numbers. Okay, well, guess what? We're going to get good with numbers. You're going to know numbers. One thing I tell them is the great thing about numbers is a 1 will always be a 1. A 5 will always be a 5. It will never be anything else. So I help them kind of dispel that whole, I'm not good with numbers thing. No, you're going to be good with numbers. Trust me. Trying to reach people, trying to get people to understand there is a better way. Probably my biggest dilemma.
What do you say to those people out there who preach that we shouldn't get better at our weaknesses and we should just build up on what we're great at. Like this example that you gave, I'm not good at numbers. You're going to get good at numbers. That's like propping up a weakness. What do you say to those people that don't believe in that?
I'm actually a believer in that. I don't believe pursuing somebody's weaknesses, but if you're going to run a business, you better know your numbers. Now, I'm not asking somebody to be a bookkeeper or an accountant. I have some curriculum that within short 6-minute videos, you will know what the most important numbers are on your profit and loss statement and why. And I've had people who have been CFOs for other companies who've been in my program and went through this and said, this is the best explanation and best way to think about these numbers that I've ever seen. So I'm not asking people to become, if your weakness is numbers, I'm not asking you to become an accountant. I'm not asking you to become a bookkeeper. I'm asking you to understand what your cost of goods means, what your top line revenue means, what your expenses mean, because we're going to take some of those expenses, we're going to chew them down. If I can increase your revenue by 3% and decrease your expenses by 3%, and I need you engaged in that with me, we can see exponential returns on the revenue side. That usually gets them motivated enough to want to know about their numbers.
Oh, I can make more and not put out anymore. Yeah, I got
absolutely.
it. What results are you most proud of?
I used to answer that question from a revenue standpoint. It's not unusual for a client working with me to double or triple their revenues in the course of a year. Even in my own business that I owned prior to this one, I was very proud of the exponential growth in the sale, 5 times from what that broker had told me a year earlier. However, I think the most satisfying aspect in my practice is seeing my clients sleep easier, work less, make more money, and eventually cash out to a pretty good payday with the sale of their business. Once I even helped save a marriage. I mean, somebody's wife was ready to leave because she was the bookkeeper and he was never around. And it was just, I'm kind of proud of that. So like I said, I just had a client last month sell for 1.75, and that was very gratifying for me. Yes, I made a great commission on it, but knowing that this man can now move on with the rest of his life. He was 65 years old. He wanted to travel. And now he gets to enjoy that money. These are the very satisfying moments to me when you know you've impacted somebody's life in such a profound manner.
Any parting thoughts you want to share with the results leaders who are listening to us right now?
Any parting thoughts? Well, I would probably say that even though you may think you have a really good business or a great business, there's always more you can do to build value in that business. And listen, if it's a business, it's an asset. So treat it like one, make it grow, build value in it, and then cash it out like everything else.
I like it. We have been speaking with Sergio DeCesare. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Thank you, results leaders, for tuning in. Another one is in the can.
Thank you.
That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.